Welcome back. We've gone down a very dangerous road here. We've implicated, what's the name? Courtney Scythe as an accomplice to Enoch Drebber in the whole entire situation. Body swapping, body doubles. And we need to reveal, like, who could potentially be a body double in this scenario. There's no missing people, there's no dead people. How could it be done? And in my head, it's like, it's the waxwork. But I know what they're gonna say already. Very well. The defense will address my learned friend's concerns, representing evidence that reveals the true nature of Mr. Asmund's body double. Ooh. Good gracious. Evidence? I do hope this isn't filibustering, counsel. The cause is expecting a name. If you think you have relevant evidence, present it now. Body double and the birdcage were hiding inside the balloon that was floating above the stage, which means that any witness would only have seen them from 60 feet away. So who was it that appeared out of that explosion some 18 meters above the spectators? Aha. The body double inside the second birdcage was... They're not gonna like it.
Take that!
We know that the victim, Mr. Asmund, was in the birdcage that was situated inside the kinesis machine on stage. And therefore, he couldn't have been inside the second birdcage. Instead, that contained something else. What's been described as a body double, which is what fell from the sky and crashed into the Crystal Tower. Yes, counsel. According to you, somewhat elaborate version of events. And that body double inside the second birdcage was in fact... Uh-oh, here we go. It's alright, Mr. Naruhodo. You're ready for this. I'm not. Just steel yourself and come out with it. Thank you, Mr. Zeta. I needed that. As I was saying, the body double inside the second birdcage was... as unbelievable as it may seem, that thing there. Who brought that in? Seriously, who brought that in for this? Right now.
Objection!
Open your eyes and look into mine, my Nipponese friend. What? Now tell me, what are you playing at? Stand firm now, Ryunosuke. This is the time to show your Japanese spirit. As the court will observe, this is a waxwork model. A model, in fact, of an infamous London moiderer from 10 years ago, the Professor.
Objection!
You started by indicating the leader of the forensic investigation team as an accomplice in this crime. And now you moved on to indicting waxworks. Yes, that's about the size of it. But why? And why this waxwork? It looks nothing like the victim. In fact, it could hardly resemble him less. What possible justification can you give? If you want to know why, ask Mr. Drebber. What? Just days before Professor Hairbrains performed his public demonstration, Mr. Drebber abducted this model from Madame Tuspinel's. Did you say abducted? And 2 days after the incident at the Great Exhibition, he returned it to the museum. The timing. Is this true, Mr. Drebber? At first, I couldn't see why Mr. Drebber would have stolen the waxwork and then given it back. But now the reason is clear. He took it so that he could put it inside the second birdcage as a body double for Mr. Asmund. Where did it come from? Like, seriously, it's just there. Are you hearing this, ladies and gentlemen of the jury? Are you hearing the defense's astonishing proposal? That the witness fabricated this vast machine with the intention of deceiving some wretched scientist. That he did so in collusion with the corn tree's finest coroner on a public stage in front of a vast audience. And that, to the effect the deception, he used a waxwork model that in no way resembles the victim. Are we really to believe this far-fetched tale? What do you decide?
Objection!
Wait. Yes, if you put it like that, of course it sounds implausible. My lord, I need to speak, if you please. Go ahead, Mr. Foreman. Myself and my colleagues have reached an agreement. Here we go. Very good. In that case, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you will state your leanings for the court to hear now.
Guilty!
Guilty.
Yeah.
Guilty! Guilty!
Summation examination.
Guilty!
Guilty. So, as indicated by the foreman, the jury has reached a consensus. I knew that was gonna happen. We shall get through this, Mr. Naruhodo, as we always do. And uncover some new truths along the way, I'm quite sure. Yes, I agree. I'm going to have to appeal to the jurors as usual, and see if I can persuade them to change their minds. The defense will now embark on a summation examination. Are you and your fellows ready to proceed, Mr. Foreman? We are, my lord. Very well. In that case, I ask you now state clearly for all present to hear the grounds on which each of you has decided that the defendant is guilty of the crime of which he is charged. The jurors' contentions. I know that woman for years. She'd never been accomplice to anything. Such a nonsense. Transport device? To think those two would ever be conniving with one another. Oh dear, this is most troubling. But surely the waxwork the man stole has nothing to do with the coroner, is it? I have had my own problems with members of the police. I do not trust them much. I've already got an inkling here. Like, number 3 has had problems with the police previously, so maybe the guy at the end, number 6, has something that could tie together with this guy. Especially because he's known her for years, so 3 and 6 are my inklings at the moment. 6 is the first one for definite for me. I've seen no rigorous proof that this waxwork was ever inside the birdcage. Just conjecture. Accusing someone without right evidence? He's not a proper job, is he? I won't have it. Yeah, I'm going with 6 first. Somewhat unsurprisingly, it seems the introduction of this waxwork model to the proceedings has polarized opinion. Given that its face is obscured and its build in no way resembles that of the victim, I can only applaud my learned friends' temerity at suggesting it as Mr. Asman's body double. Yes, the applause is deafening. And yes, I know it seems extraordinary. Extraordinary! But that's the point. That's why I have a strong feeling it's actually a greater clue than anyone yet realizes. What are you thinking, Mr. Naruhodo? I can't explain why at the moment, but I feel as though there's a specific reason why it was used. Why it had to be this model. Really? Reason why nothing else would do, you mean? Yes, and I'm convinced it's something far more significant than whether or not the model looked like the victim. Well, if that's the case, We must prevent the trial from ending prematurely at all costs. Yes, agreed. I got no clue on what they're on about right now. Have to find a way out of this. If you are ready, Counsel, you may proceed with the summation examination. Yes, my lord. Just knows he's gonna go for it. Just knows. Alright. The defense's rebuttal. I've known that woman for years. She'd never been an accomplice to anything. Like you, it's like, that's right, hold on. The order of things seems to have changed around here for some reason. I mean, yeah, he's very adamant, so he's jumped to the front. I'm a copper lad. It's a copper's discretion to bend the rules sometimes when needs must. What's wrong with that? Where do I start? I've been working at the yard for 40 odd years. That's even more than I thought. They've only had a metropolitan police service in town for 70 years now, you know. Of course, times have changed. They probably didn't trust coppers back when I started. It was rough. We had to fight crime and we had to fight it and win the public's trust as well. And when we did. Forensic science was in its infancy too. Even more than it is now. And she spearheaded the revolution. Dr. Saev, you mean? That's right. About 10 years ago now it was. And I was still a youngish bobby on the beat. That's when she started making a name for herself as a top-class coroner. And now look at her. Head of the forensic investigation team. And a woman, no less. Well, you won't hear me complain. It's what we all dreamt of back then, I tell you. Could you tell me about holding the gun in the air? We were all out to uphold justice, lad. Full of vim we were, full of vim. That's coming across loud and clear. And that's straight away I want to go on to you, because maybe that connects somehow. It's all I can think right now.
Hold it!
What sort of problems? Let's just say we have run into each other on numerous occasions while I've been performing on the street. Right, I see. Obviously, artists such as myself cannot appear on stage as we work in close proximity to our audiences. So we perform our great magic in parks, on street corners, and the like. But the police use any excuse to make our lives difficult. Hello.
Excuse me.
Do you have something to say in response to that, Mr. Ottermole? Are you calling mass murderer? Ah, sorry, my mistake. I got confused because I heard you look like him. I don't look anything like that, man. You're gonna be locked up, Sonny. Thanks, Mr. Shlomes. Perhaps we could move on. I was really wondering if you had something you wanted to add in response to what juror number 3 just said. And clearly you do. Back in my day, back in the good old days, it wasn't like this. And what was it like, sir? We worked our fingers to the bone to earn the public's trust, we did. And by Jove, we earned it. People respected us back then. Respected you? No one would have called a coroner into question in them days. Coroner's report was the hallmark of an investigation done right. Especially when Dr. Courtney Stevens put a name to it. Alright. She was the best of the best. And the apple of the... Yeah. Hey, hold on a minute. What are you talking about? Who's Courtney Stevens? Ah, sorry. Got a bit carried away there. Stevens is Dr. Saev's maiden's name. A maiden name. So that was before she was married. Where is it? Death by hanging confirmed at midnight, Courtney Stevens. But redacted for confidentiality is like... I'm wondering if that's going to be related. Like, did she change her name because of that? But the fact it's Courtney Stevens here, this is very significant. So I knew I'd seen the name before. Okay. Of course, yes, silly me. Sive now, isn't it? Stevens. I'm sure I've seen that name somewhere recently. Yeah, we have. Anyway, the point is, those were the great days of policing, not like now. Sorry to interrupt, sir. But do you think you could change your statement to include that name? Oh yes, I don't see why not. She was Courtney Stevens back when I knew her, of course, a legendary coroner even then. Such a nonsense to think those two would ever be conniving with one another. Oh dear, this is most troubling, but surely the waxwork the man stole has nothing to do with the coroner, is it? But it is. Courtney Stevens. Right there. It is. So we want to pit you against you now, because we've got the Courtney Stevens. Right? How do I present the evidence, though? I mean, I've got to go with that just to, maybe then they'll get a follow-up question being like, well, what evidence? Blah, 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 blah. And then I can present it. That's the only thing I can think of right now.
Objection!
Someone will be like, hold on a minute. Those two statements clearly contradict each other. Good gracious. To whose statements do you refer, counsel? So, juror number 2. Oh gosh, me. What can I do for you? I presume that you heard what juror number 6 said in his statement. It's brought to light the maiden name of the coroner, Dr. Scythe, which in turn has revealed a connection that wasn't apparent before. Well, naturally, as a woman of society, I find such connections and relationships irresistible. But oh golly, I'm afraid I fail to see what you mean. Dr. Scythe's maiden name is Stevens. And though that name, and through that name, the coroner is very definitely linked to the waxwork of the killer. The defense has evidence to prove it, yes. My goodness, evidence you say? How utterly enthralling. Counsel, the court cannot overlook that last remark. I very much hope there is substance to your claim. Of course there is, my lord. I would ask the court, look at this. The evidence that clearly links Dr. Scythe to the mass murderer known as the Professor.
Take that!
I have here a certain autopsy report from 10 days ago. Days ago. Years ago. I'm keeping that one in. 10-year-old autopsy report? What relevance does that have? It is, of course, from the autopsy of the person portrayed in the waxwork. The killer, known as the Professor. The Professor's... But that man was a capital offender, so, That's right. This is the certification of death that was drawn up after the convict's execution. The identity of the killer was never made public, so the report gives few details. But what's important is the name of the coroner who wrote it. Courtney Stevens. Oh my, Courtney Stevens? Strike a light! It appears that the Professor's autopsy was conducted by Dr. Scythe 10 years ago. And a few days ago, Mr. Drebber very deliberately stole the waxwork of the Professor from Madame Truspel's. A waxwork that doesn't in fact resemble the victim, Mr. Asmund, at all. And do you suppose there's some unsavory relationship between those events? Absolutely. I'm sure of it. There's no doubt in my mind that the Professor's case is at the heart of a link that we have yet to uncover. Between Dr. Courtney Scythe and Mr. Enoch Drebber. Hidden links, mysterious connections, secret relationships. This is almost extraordinary. We're surely obliged now to explore this further. Gotta. Yes. Quite right, we can't let this trial come to an end now. Got him. Not while there's this cloud of suspicion hanging over the yard's best coroner. Wasn't like this in my day, but we're still here to uphold justice in the end. Now, so how do I get the rest? Alright, so what else we got? We got number 3 here. I've had my own problems with the members of the police. I don't trust them much. I don't know where to go with you. Because it is very much a case of like, I pursued you and it ended up going down that route, so I don't know where we go from there. So we'll check in on number 4 now. See no rigorous proof that this waxwork was ever inside the birdcage. It's conjecture. Wait, hold on. We have the piece of glass. Small fragment of very unusual and thick glass that was found in the folds of the clothing in the professor's waxwork. It appeared to be from the Crystal Tower, so it's like, how do we even present that? I guess we go with pressing.
Hold it!
But you claimed the whole instantaneous kinesis demonstration was a trick. That I did, but there's more than one way to pull a rabbit out of a hat, isn't there? Sorry? I grant you, given that this cage appeared from amidst an explosion, there'd been no need to use a real person. But if a waxwork had been used, the culprit could at least have had the decency to make it look like the victim. I'm not sure exactly how much criminals are governed by decency. The point is, if you're going to make a claim about the waxwork being inside the birdcage, you need to give us some evidence about that. It's just not science. I suppose we should expect nothing less than a logical argument from a fellow of the Royal Society. So how do I present the glass? But that perhaps means his mind could be changed if we manage to present suitable evidence. Just let me do it. Evidence that the professor's waxwork was inside that birdcage. Yes. Can I produce that or not? Yep. Actually, I have something I'd like you to see, sir. Oh? I must warn you that I firmly believe it's only wise to trust men in white coats. So given your jet black outfit, I don't mind admitting to a sense of trepidation here. So you don't trust anyone in black? Looking in the mirror must be very trying. I do have some evidence that proves the waxwork was inside that birdcage, namely the big piece of freaking glass.
Take that!
Smashed it. What's that? Piece of glass? It's unusually thick for glass. Yes, it's a piece of broken glass that we found inside the jacket of the waxwork. As you say, it's no ordinary glass though. It's very thick and clearly made for extra strength. Much like the special glass that was developed for the construction of the Crystal Tower. The Crystal Tower... Holy smoke! Exactly. The centerpiece of the Great Exhibition, where the very instant we're talking about took place. On that day in question, the birdcage fell from above and smashed through a window on the special glass. Once the small piece originated, is that it? Precisely. So, what do you say? Now that clear evidence in support of the assertion has been placed before you, it's got to be enough, surely. Well, as I said, I only trust men in white coats as a rule. However, when the reasoning is sound, it's fair to say colour shouldn't come into it. In the light of what you've shown here, yes, I feel obliged to change my position on the matter. In that case, juror number 4, you will amend your statement now, please. Only got 3, though. Presence of that piece of glass leaves me in little doubt that the waxwork was in... Wait, we've not got him changed already? I thought that wouldn't be enough to change him. So what else can we do? Alright, the presence of that piece of glass leaves me in little doubt that the waxwork was indeed inside the birdcage. Then you should be What? I'm assuming we have to pit you against someone, but still. Accusing someone without right evidences? He's not a proper job, is he? I won't have it. Well, you and you then. Because that works, because like, you're complaining there's no evidence, and he's saying there is evidence now, so...
Objection!
Guess that works. Those two statements clearly contradict each other. Good gracious. To whose statement do you refer, counsel? If you could put down your corn for a moment, juror number 5. I like corn. Oh, you mean me? You pointed out that it's wrong to make an accusation without evidence. But the accusation that the waxwork model was inside the second birdcage on the day in question is not without supporting evidence, as the defense demonstrated to the juror sitting beside you. Oh, is that right? Would it be fair to say you didn't follow the argument? I don't understand much besides Colonel Cobb, to be honest. Great. Of course you don't. If I could interject here, please do, sir. Now that this assertion of yours about the waxwork has been backed up by some solid evidence, it'd be wrong of me as a man of science not to pursue the matter further. Right, thank you. Should have done that the last time. I shouldn't need to, pit you against him. We should have just changed it anyway. Oh, well, me too, then. Well, alright, there we go. Sorry? If this brainy gentleman says he's right, he must be. See, I don't dream of going against Colonel Cobb or anyone who's got stuff in between their ears. Alright, there we go. That's what we were after, that's what we were after. Success. If you can call it that. Thank you, counsel, that will do. As a result of the summation examination, the jury's overall leaning has changed. 2 jurors now called guilty, against 4 who call not guilty. Accordingly, the court has failed to reach a consensus at this time. And the trial must continue. We did it! Oh, well done, Mr. Naruhodo. Another wonderful victory. I feel like we should have got that sooner, but alright. How about it? Time for a cup of tea? A waxwork of the despicable professor. Used as a body double for the victim in this quite extraordinary case. I must say, it's extremely hard to believe the assertion could possibly be true. However, it would appear that it does at least warrant further investigation. It's the waxwork of the professor that links Mr. Drebber and Dr. Scythe. And I'm convinced that there's a special significance to that link. I don't know what you're hoping to prove, lad. I really don't. The truth, sir. By using evidence and testimony. If the court is to delve deeper into the alleged involvement of the waxwork in this case, then the prosecution calls for the owner of the model to be summoned as a witness. The owner? Madame Tuspels. I really thought that Lord Van Zykes would have objected this whole line of inquiry. Very well, I concur. Make arrangements for Madame Tuspels to appear as a witness with immediate effect. Listen carefully, my learned friend. Oh, yes? You should know that you're on the brink of opening Pandora's box. Oh, crap. The court shall now adjourn for 45 minutes. During that time, the prosecution will summon the new witness and prepare her for taking the stand. What do you mean, Pandora's box? How bad could it be? How bad could it be? Madame Tuspels, yes, I shall see to it at once, my lord. But, hold on. Oh. Well, we will actually use that as a place to end this part. And the next part, I assume, will be coming back with Madame Tuspel. Ta-da for now. Yes.